It's a great turnout so far. Lot of members decided that they want their voice heard by the club.
And why do you feel this is needed now?
Well, it's been a tough 6 or 7 months for Collingwood members. It's well documented what happened with the trade period and the Do Better report, the on-field performance recently. But it goes back probably 6 or 7 years now. There's been a lot of member discontent around a lot of areas at the club. So it's a cumulative effect. It's become a wave, and as you can see, people aren't happy.
Don't worry about that. Come forward. You want to take ownership of the club back?
Welcome to the Collingwood Rant. I'm Sly.
And I love a special guest, Spook.
Spook, we lost, shockingly.
Did we lose?
We lost.
Well, why does this come as a surprise to me every week?
Does it come as a surprise?
Did we lose by 80 points like I predicted?
No.
Why not?
But did you anticipate that it would start brightly and then they just slowly reel us back and then it would end in heartbreak?
It's like when you used to watch TV shows when you were a kid and it had the little R in the corner, which meant it was a repeat. That's how TV used to work back then, kids. I'm pretty certain when I turned on KO, there was a little R in the corner.
I am just curious, how is it... So everyone's now starting to criticise this game plan. It doesn't work, Bucks! Everyone's starting to criticise...
Hang on, no. Don't be discouraged. Give it another 10 years.
So you even had Peter Moore come out saying it's not a game plan designed for forwards. You're having
He said it's not a game plan's arsehole.
Yeah. You have Gary... Sorry, Peter, you didn't actually say that. You had Gary Lyon...
That's what I heard.
You had Gary Lyon... Gary Lyon also criticising it. So people are starting to become aware. Scott Pendlebury... I was going to say Potts. And Scott Pendlebury, he came out and defended it. It's about tempo.
I saw that linked. I haven't read it yet. What did he say?
It's the uneducated people are making stupid guesses.
You leave Nathan Buckley alone.
Pretty much came down to that. It's about tempo and that. You can't just kick it blindly and all that sort of stuff.
Was there a tremolo on the ground?
But the thing that kills me is, literally kills me, yeah, they do, is why is it so many games now in the last few years? So, and I'll point to them, like the prelim against GWS 2 years ago.
Yep.
The 2 games against Bulldogs in 2019.
Yep.
The game against St Kilda, game against Melbourne, game against Freo, which we ended up losing.
The grand fucking final.
It was a little bit different, but if 90 minutes we'll play...
Same pattern, though.
Yeah, we'll play dreary shit, and then when it's close, then we'll find some impetus, and we'll either come back, or in a few of those games we actually race ahead. Why is it for 15 minutes we can find the way to play, but for the other 85 minutes we play shit? And what I'll put to everyone is simply that when there's no choice but to actually just go for it, then the team discovers some mojo.
Yeah, I mean, that's the frustrating thing is that first quarter of fast attacking football, it's fast, it's exciting, it's direct, it results in, what are those things called again? Goals. We kick a lot of those, and then we go into stupefy mode. We slow the game down. I don't know whether we're actually thinking about really attacking to win anymore. It's like we're defending that enormous 3-goal buffer that we've built up. And then they just go fucking sideways. Oh, well, there's an No, just going to kick it over here. What about... No, I'm just going to kick it over here. It's just fucking... It munts the game. It just slows it down. And everything that became good about it is nullified. By I don't know what it is, whether it's just that lack of desire or what, or whether it's just that there's becomes... It's like the creativity's been trained out of them.
Yeah, I could almost validate that. One of the things I believe is happening is the basis of Buckley's game plan is control the football and then go for it. But I think, as you've said there, they've trained, smothered the audacity, the verve of players. So,
and I'll cite an example while I'm thinking about this before you go into your really lengthy and interesting observation.
I won't be lengthy or interesting.
There was a passage in the last quarter, I think it was, where Miacek got the ball. He had space in front of him, and he would have been about, maybe 35, 40 metres out. And you think, for a bloke that can kick reliably over great distance, I'm sitting there going, you'll have a shot. And he fucking stopped and then looked to the left and delivered the ball at the feet of somebody 20 feet away. Because what? He had a slightly better angle? Yeah. It's just like, your natural instinct surely would be,
to attack.
I have to run and kick that fucking goal now because it's crucial to where we are in the game? Or do I stop and just go over there?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they try and set up for that launching point, but they've been smothered to an extent or asphyxiated to an extent that players just go, is this it? I don't know. Maybe I need to just control it. And they get into that loop and they can't get out of it. It's because no one... Sorry, I should say no. People like Taylor Adams, to me, appear to go, I'm going to try and take the game on. We don't have enough of those types, or if we had those types, they've been smothered. So I just think they get caught in this vicious cycle where they can't find their way out of it. And instead of going to take it on, it's like, I'm not sure anymore. 5 years ago or at another club, I'd go for that. At Collingwood, I'm now going to go sideways and make it someone else's responsibility. And I think, Callum Brown gets a lot of criticism for the way he plays. But he, I think, is the barometer in the sense that I think they've just totally confused his natural instincts. You go back to his first year, he looked a lot better than he has in the next 3 years. And I think they've just confused the way he plays to the point where he doesn't know what to do when he gets the ball. Which I think is an indictment on the entire coaching staff and the game plan. Supporter David Hatley, the Collingwood Turtle, he is challenging the Collingwood Football Club and trying to get signatures to spill the board and go to an EGM.
Yep.
And we now have Turtle on the line. David Hatley.
Oh, surely not. Oh, I love a good, what do you call this thing? A Zoom?
Yeah.
I love a good Zoom.
Would like to welcome to the Collingwood rant David Hatley, who began the petition to spill the board and go to an EGM. Welcome, David.
Welcome.
Good evening, guys. Well, fantastic to be on board.
So how long have you been a member of Collingwood?
I would say, well, my badge says 41 years, so it must be 41 years.
I can't do years. Can you measure that in grand final losses? Too many.
Probably
about 8.
Yeah, good, isn't it?
So in that 41 years, you've seen a lot of ups and downs, but this is the only time you've been motivated to start a petition for an EGM.
Yeah, well, over the journey, we've had our flat patches where we've been down the bottom of the ladder. I can think of, say, 1982, 87, 99. Even 99. I mean, like, Shore's years, it was tough. But obviously the club made the decision to, finish up Shore's contract then and go eventually with Malthouse. So there was a vision and a plan from the board. Probably at the moment, and this is not actually to do with the current playing position or ladder position for me at the moment, because I've had issues with the club, and a lot of us that in my group, Legends members, normal supporters, people online on the fan forums, they've had issues with the club for a number of years now, even in 2018. So I think there were some suggestions by Mark Anderson and Mark Corder that we're basically doing this because of the situation where we're 2-8, and really that's not correct.
So it's obviously been building the dissonance for a while. So what finally broke the camel's back?
That's going to be my question.
Outside of Collingwood's training.
Oh, well,
what was that unique little moment that made this one different, that caused the catalytic behaviour?
Well, it's been a horror 6 or 7 months, really, from the trade period onwards. The list management, the Dane Beams payout, the Do Better report, just how that was handled. Not actually the report itself, like it's probably a reasonable concept, but how it was delivered. Eddie's, leaving the way it happened, and then probably just the final nail for me and a lot of people was the announcement of Bridie O'Donnell as the casual vacancy fill of recent times. So, and this is not actually in regards to whether she's credible or talented enough. It was actually the process around that and how she was appointed, given that she wasn't an actual Collingwood member for the 24 consecutive months as stipulated. And probably more importantly to me and a lot of people was her social media traffic over the last few years, and not actually wearing a AFLW Bulldogs jumper. I mean, I don't care if she wants to do that and support that. That's fair enough. But for us, which strikes at the chord of what a Collingwood supporter is to actually mock Collingwood supporters. And like, people can be critical of the club. We all have at times on social media because of poor performance or there's something wrong with the club. But actually to be a board member and in your past actually outwardly mock Collingwood supporters, and that was probably the final tipping point for me to reach out to some really good mates. We decided to actually do something.
Mark Corder arranged a meeting with you. I assume he arranged it to try and dissuade you from this course. What was the vision he laid out for you to try and deter you from going to an EGM?
Well, the meeting we had was, I think the first, say, 10 or 15 minutes, though, both Mark Corder and Stephen Ryler were trying to understand where we were coming from.
If I can just stop you. So they had no empathy or understanding for why there's any disenfranchisement amongst the supporter base.
I wouldn't say that. I think they understood. I think they understood some of it. I think they were more thinking that where we were coming from was purely the way the ladder position. But when we had the opportunity to actually explain, like I said about the Bridie O'Donnell situation, and the membership department issues, the recent ticketing issues that, whilst they're not directly Collingwood's fault, like we pointed out to them that Collingwood as a major stakeholder at the MCG, Collingwood Football Club should be leveraging on that to provide something better for our members. They didn't really see it like that. So they were of the belief that they're the incumbent board. They should ride this out to the end of February. But we said that we would get it. Well, we would try to obtain the signatures required for an EGM. We made a commitment to Mark that once we did that, or once we hopefully got those numbers, that we would actually request then another meeting and then and see how we go from there.
So you didn't talk about any on-field stuff, like about coaching, players, or anything like that. They didn't expect that you're going to come in, deliver ultimatums and say, do this or we're going to spill the board. They didn't have any sense of trepidation.
No. Well, I think I stipulated to them that for us it wasn't about the on-field. It was more about that the members that had contacted me, that they were disappointed that with all these casual vacancies, that they hadn't had a real opportunity to vote on the board. Now, like they've said in the media, they keep on saying that these people, when it comes to the AGM, were elected by the members. But as we know, there's probably only about 400, 500 members that go, and those casual vacancies, that when they have been filled over these last 8-10 years, probably for all these directors, they've been in there for 6 or 7 months. They're established, and then when it comes to the AGM, Eddie in the past has said basically, well, yep, these guys, anyone, just push them through. No one, of course, challenges. So whilst technically they are elected, I don't believe they're a true representation of the membership. And given what happened yesterday, where people were walking up and signing, I think it was a good validation in our group's thoughts.
All right, so let's go to yesterday, the Port Adelaide game pre-game, set up outside gate 1. What was the expectation before people started showing up? Because I know, like, I spoke to a few of the other people, I was there myself, and I thought there'd probably be some wariness from supporters, or they would be unsure about this course. So what was your expectation before people did start showing up?
I was probably hopeful that we would get somewhere between 300 and 400. I was thinking, like you said, because we'd only launched this last week. It was basically, I think it was Wednesday night that I sort of made a indication that we might do something, and then we properly launched Thursday. So it wasn't really much time until Sunday. So I was probably a little bit, not skeptical, but I was probably thinking, well, okay, it takes some people to sort of normally take in that sort of stuff and to actually take the time and get to the ground. But I was literally stunned, when I got there about 12:15, people walking up to me, a few people from the cheer squad that knew me, and a couple other people who sort of vaguely must have seen me from the TV and said, where can we sign? And we hadn't even set up at that stage. So, I mean, as you saw there, Sly, there was great numbers early.
So how did you feel, the general attitude? Because, I mean, I had a sense that there was real anger amongst the supporter base about the state of the club. Again, not on field, because a lot of people are going to correlate this and just say it's just an on-field thing, and it's obviously not. It's a whole collection of things over a long period, which is just accumulated. And the sense I got was there's a lot of supporters who were really angry about where the club was, wanted to take ownership of the club back, and also were really thankful that they were given an avenue to be heard for the first time in 23 years.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think before you answer, I mean, personally, it sort of feels each year that we keep going on, that disconnect between you as a member and the club it's a divide that just keeps getting larger. And, you feel like you don't have a say in anything. You're just dictated to, and then, not dictated in a negative or evil way or anything like that, but it's a communication avenue that just goes one way. We give you this, but you've got no right to reply. You've got no say in anything. You think, well, you're a paid up member. Most people are throwing nearly $1,000 a year at the football club to sit on a seat and watch some games, but it should be more than that.
So you're right. How did you find the supporters when they were coming up?
Yeah, well, there was a common theme that word disconnect and disconnect, lack of connection, lack of a club feel like that. That were a lot of the words used. I was actually a couple of times quite emotional where I had a couple of 40 or 50 year members pull me aside and just say thank you for doing this.
I saw that too.
Whether gentlemen, ladies, saying that we haven't got a social club. We want a social club. Like whether it's a win or a loss, we want to be together after a game. Like aside from the COVID situation, the glass house has been grossly underused. People complaining the fact that that it's been booked out for private functions on game days when it was supposed to be on game days exclusively for Collingwood people. So it was. I felt fantastic that that these Collingwood people had the opportunity to express their feelings, and it was quite interesting actually. The number of women who came up to me who were very critical of Bridie O'Donnell, and I mean. A lot of people could say, like, a lot of blokes are sexist and don't want females on boards, but I can tell you the vast majority of people who were complaining about her appointment were actually women. So, I think it was a fantastic day, and I say that because, what we were all wanting out of the day was for the opportunity for our members to put some accountability back on the board and the opportunity to get democracy back. And I think we've taken some really good steps in the process of doing that.
Well, how do you feel about people, particularly on social media, who've been critical of this course, who either feel that you're just an agitator or that there's no grander plan to this other than to challenge the board and spill it, and then we're just going to be left with this vacuum?
Oh, well, I think I was talking to someone from the Age today, and Tony Shaw is not in favour of it. Peter Moore is. People are entitled to their opinions. We're not saying that you have to sign the petition. If you don't, I had a couple of people come up to me and wanted to know what we're all about, and I explained what we were doing. They voiced the opinion that they didn't want to sign, and they had their concerns, and I just said, well, that's okay. Like, what we're trying to do is give the members the opportunity to actually vote on all the candidates, the incumbents, and anyone who wants to challenge. So, if people want to be critical, like I haven't replied negatively to anyone on social media that's had a crack at me, whether it's personally or even our cause. So that's the way I see it. Like it's everyone's entitled to have their opinion.
Do you have a preferred candidate to become president?
I think it's me.
Do you have do you have a preferred candidate to become vice president after Spook?
No. I literally want to see who's going to have a go at it, because I like so many of the members, like like Mark Corder's been there for a long time. He might have a completely different style to Eddie. We don't know really. And so I'd like to see like a true election, and I'd like to see the guys who are incumbent, what their vision and future is for what their vision is for the future. And also, we had 90 candidates for the last 2 casual vacancies. I know some of them who applied, great candidates. So let's see what they've got to offer. I think a lot of people who are critical, they're worried that someone like me might get in. Like I've got no interest in being on the board. I think I've said numerous times, I merely see myself as a conduit for people who aren't happy. And I'm quite happy to do what I'm doing here, and just sit in the Ponsford stand and hopefully see Collingwood wins in the future, because that's what we're pushing towards.
Certainly.
Well, yes,
yeah. I've just got a quick question. Earlier on in the piece, the anticipated number of signatures are required. I remember seeing that it was only 100 to trigger an EGM. Eddie went on Footy Classified and said it was something in the vicinity of 14 million or 4,000, I think was the figure he quoted.
No,
the number settled on 650, which was reported by Channel 7. That's factual. Who dictated that 650 number? Did that come from Mark Porter?
I think originally... No. I think originally the assumption was 100, but the corporations law changed, and particularly in regards to Collingwood's constitution, I believe probably about 5 or 6 years ago. So that meant that it went to 5%. So I couldn't get a definitive number from the club twice in regards to actually voting club members.
So the club,
whether they don't.
You're saying shockingly the club didn't really have a gauge on figures or maths.
Well, I don't know whether they'd actually try to work out the number, or they just didn't know. To be honest, but so we worked on the basis that it could be up to worst case say 15,000 voters, or members that were entitled to vote. So we're working on 5% of that, and that sort of gave us the 750 number as a high ball number, and I think the media settled on 650. So as it stands right now, it's around 9 o'clock on Monday night, and at the moment we've hit the 1,500 signature mark. So the online EGM petition, magpievoice.com, is actually it's rating its head off. It's just the traction on it, the hits is going fantastic.
That's good.
Yeah, I know. Like I've had emails and I've had people on social media querying me about how to sign online because they haven't been able to get to the game. So I know, as you said, you're a conduit for all these people, and there's a lot of people who felt this. And I really have to commend you. I mean, I've spoken to you previously, but, a lot of people complain about the club. You actually went out and did something. And the thing that I actually get really annoyed at, and Spook can attest that I don't have a really good handle on my temper or anything when it comes to Collingwood, but people who sort of criticize, or not people, people who criticize you as just an agitator really have no clue what this is about. And they really have no clue about how much you love the club. You said you're a 41-year member. you show up every week, regardless of win, loss, ladder position, or anything like that, and you really only have interest in the betterment of the club for the future. And that's a lot of people want to see that. And, you know, it annoys me when you get critics go, oh, well, I expect to win a flag every year or something like that. It's like, no, we just expect to be a constructive club going forward. And the stuff we've seen the last 18 months, I think, isn't constructive. I think we've been a very self-destructive club. What would be your vision for the future? I mean, outside of flags, where do you feel Collingwood needs to go to become a powerhouse again?
The key element for me is that connection piece again. Like you know, once you know COVID settles down, I want us to have a social club. Like if we're playing a Saturday afternoon game, have the social club open before the game. People can like have lunch, walk over to the G. Then after the game, whether we win or lose, get a past player back there, get a current player there, get a coach there. The people will come. You know, there's so many people who have said that to me that you know only takes you know a 10 or 5 minute chat from those type of people. And you know we saw it a couple of years ago. Tyson Goldsack and Lyndon Dunn put up an event, and the glass house was sold out. It was sold out in record time. So the old saying, if you build it, they will come. That's what's going to happen at Collingwood. You know, I want to see people, you know, from all, you know, all parts of the membership base enjoy those facilities at the Holden Centre. You know, yeah, that's basically it. And you know, the thing is that like hopefully out of all this, that we get board members that actually want to actually engage more with the members as well. I pointed this out to Mark and Steve that during the time that we've been in the Ponsford stand, I haven't seen one board member mingling with members in either the Legends Lounge or the Social Club, and that's basically where I think that they really don't get it. Like, okay, they've got their corporate commitments at the president's lunches and all that, but you know, some of those games where we've got an away game where they're not actually having to be there. The social club is still open there. The Legends Land is open there. Mix with the members, talk to them, understand their pains, not just about the on-field stuff. Listen to what they have to say. You know, I'm worried really a lot about losing a lot of these hardcore members because, you know, apparently we had a bit of a spike in Legends memberships last year. It's probably more out of commitment because of COVID, because the people just felt like, yep, I've got to support the club monetarily wise because we don't want it to go under. And luckily we're one of 4 clubs that are self-sufficient. But I look around those seats in the Ponsford stand and it's really poor. You know, there's a lot of people that I've known for a long time who have just given up their membership. And I really feel disappointed because I've spoken to a lot of them and they've just said, you know, for me, when I'm quoting them, for me, they go that the issue is it's not a club anymore. And they've just decided, well, I can just sit home, don't have to pay my $950. But I feel for them because I know they would actually like that good environment where it's all inclusive.
And I think you touched on this a little bit before. And I think some of that sleeping passion's been ignited by the Bridie situation. And again, I have no qualms with the person being appointed who doesn't support the club. However, the look just wasn't good. That you've got someone, as you said, that's just had a history of bagging. It did make me angry when I saw it. And it overruled that, okay, well, this could be the most perfect fit for that particular role. But now my focus is on the fact that you've just failed to read the room. You're not engaging with the it's not the rabid supporter base, but that passion that drives us, that tribal belonging was put to the task. And I think even the club must have been surprised at the backlash, that the anger that's out there. And I don't think any was personally directed at Bridie. It was just the whole look of the thing. It just wasn't good.
Well, sporting club is about loyalty. So you have a patriotism towards your club. So the moment anyone, you know, it'd be like burning the flag. The moment anyone insults that patriotism or that club's identity, obviously you're going to be upset. So I'm actually really surprised that no one at the club just sort of said, let's just talk this through before we make this appointment. Let's see if this is going to work out. And if there's anything potentially on social media, let's maybe just get you...
Go and clean your socials.
Yeah, go clean your socials or put them all on private. Do you think the board members should have fixed terms?
Fixed terms?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably would be a good thing to consider for the future. I mean, obviously they'd have to change the constitution, and that would be something that would be good to be put up to the members. I mean, what we've done with this EGM petition electronically, like there's a lot of these things that, and the club can contact members and like throw it out there and say, well, we've got an idea for the future in actually having fixed terms and actually getting a bit of feedback. So yeah, I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, it is an opportunity, especially in the digital space now, to be innovative in that in terms of engagement. And it's not so much about sending a newsletter out or a tweet about someone kicking a football between two sticks. It's about giving that two-way street open access for you to have your say back in. Be that whether it's voting on an issue or giving input to something. It's got to be opened up two ways, and it's easy enough to do these days, you would think, hope.
Yeah.
Any final words about Collingwood, EGM, any aspect of the club?
No, I just encourage all the members that haven't had their say yet to get on magpievoice.com, and also before the Geelong game on Saturday, we're going to be out the front of gate 1 again, collecting paper signatures as well. So yeah, it's just hopefully we can get a win on Saturday. But importantly, let's strive forward for democracy at the Pies.
That's it.
And just finally, is there a time limit on how long you're going to be collecting signatures?
Well, I think we've indicated that Saturday night we'll be shutting things up in terms of the digital signatures, and then we'll obviously have to collate again all the paper signatures and count up the online ones, and then we'll see where we're at, and then like the commitment we made to Mark Corder, then we'll initiate a meeting with him and whoever else at Collingwood wants to be a part of it, and we'll discuss our options going forward.
If you go back to Mark and co, and you say, look, we've got X amount of signatures, and you can't come to any sort of mutual agreement, and you want to force the EGM to happen, what's the process about what happens next? Is there a lead time before that EGM can be called?
I'm not the legal eagle in the group. My basic understanding would be that we would present the petition, whether it's electronic or paper, to the club. Then I believe at their next scheduled board meeting, then they would actually table those to the rest of the board members, and then I believe then there is a specified time that then the EGM could be then called. But given the time frame, I think it could be something like 40 days. So depending on when their scheduled board meeting is, I think they have them possibly once a month, or might even be every 6 weeks. So we might find that it could sort of blow out to maybe a 2-month process. So where we're at now is coming up to round 11. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's going to be more than likely the back end of the season that we would have the EGM.
And just finally, so you've referenced the group a few times. So there's a lot of thought going on into this. It's not just one person who's impulsively acted. That you're getting counsel from other people about the direction you're taking and your expectation moving forward.
Sorry, what was that? What was that last bit?
So you're getting also input from other people about your expectation moving forward. So it's not just one person, one aggrieved supporter. You're actually part of a group, and that's
no, definitely. No, I think I said this yesterday, maybe to the ABC. I said this is not a case of just me deciding to push ahead with this. It's a very good concerned group of people who I trust, people who I value their opinions. They've been long time Collingwood members, supporters. They're passionate. They're intelligent. They work in all different areas, professionally. They're switched on. They know what they're doing. Like, I think I've seen some social media chatter questioning the validity of some of the people who are, of us putting this ahead. I wouldn't put myself out there as the media face of this, as it is at the moment, if I wasn't confident in the people backing me and helping me out. Like, yesterday was fantastic. Like, the support around getting all the signatures, yelling out to people. There wasn't any dramas with the security. The police come over and commended us. The ability of us to turn around an online signature platform or capture, I think shows that for a humble group of Collingwood supporters, we've managed to put a pretty good campaign together in a short amount of time, and I think it shows the professionalism of the people that we're all dealing with.
David, thanks for joining us, and thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you. And I just want to ask one quick thing, though. Mark Corder keeps using the word coup. He said, "You don't like coups at Collingwood." Eddie hates coups. The boot stutter doesn't like coups either. You're happy to assure us and our 3 listeners that this isn't a coup?
I don't like coups either. This is no way near a coup. All this is gathering signatures to give a voice back to the people to decide who's on the board. There's no coup. I'm not running in there with a tank trying to take over the Holden Centre. All we're doing is gathering signatures and giving our members a platform to have a say in our future.
Excellent. Well, it's good we can put that coup thing to bed then.
Yep. David, thank you again.
No coups.
Thanks, mate. Done well.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Cheers.
See ya. So what are your thoughts on the EGM? You obviously are in agreement with the course that's been taken?
I don't think we've hidden it on the rant here that we've been calling this for about, 12 decades now. I think it's fantastic that this has now sort of finally taken some form of shape. Ultimately, look, even if it doesn't end up getting the desired result, at least it's woken the club up to a few hard facts about the dissatisfaction that the supporter base as a whole, I think in greater numbers that they anticipate, is currently having. It's curious, though, that a little bit of observation to me is that it's become really apparent to me lately that there's a clear sort of, not class divide at Collingwood, there's like an age divide between...
No, there's another term for that. So a lot of people would not know, but I did a couple of years studying psychology, and there's a term for it. It's called the moron divide. Now, the morons are on that side. I have a few of their... actually, I shouldn't associate with tweets, but I will. I'm not going to even read the names of these, but you'll see them scroll up.
I didn't get to make my point, though.
You're going to make it soon anyway.
Right, yep.
To be honest, older footy fans are quite unbearable sometimes because they grew up watching footy before it was AFL, before drafts, before the comp was national, before the game evolved into what it is today, and they genuinely just can't adapt and don't understand how complex game plans are.
No, I mean,
fucking hell.
Why would you after years of watching it?
Because that's what...
Isn't that too many words for these guys? Don't they normally just say whatever boomer? Isn't that their preferred go-to?
Experience counts for nothing, apparently.
Whatever, boomer.
There's a fucking sense of entitlement about that tweet that, like, I'm smarter than people 2-3 times my age.
Whatever,
boomer. Seen 2 or 3 times more games.
Whatever, boomer.
And I'll just
Are you using your Collingwood privilege at me?
Yeah, I'm very privileged at Collingwood. I saw all the people signing the EGM thing, and I physically cringed.
Who said that?
I'm not. It's the names are on the tweet, so I'm not going to actually read them out.
Physically cringe.
Physically cringe.
Was it like just saying, what's going on? Ooh.
And I don't know, I imagine this, you maybe go to book burning rallies and shit like that. You don't want anyone to have free speech. You don't have anyone rights or anything like that.
It's called an opinion. Voice it. We respect yours, whoever you are. Masked. Oh, surely not. Oh, Jesus Christ.
EGM low-key has me worried because I know half these blokes have zero idea what they're actually going to do once they get what they want.
No, you're right. It's all too hard. Let's just stick with the status quo.
This is the plan, though. I mean, you saw the interview, but here's the real plan. We're going to spill the board and not elect anyone. And what we're going to do... Yes. And what we're going to do, whoever's the captain, so it'll be Pendlebury, I guess, one more year. We're going to say, Pendles, you bring the football.
No. What we're going to do is once we spill the board, we're going to spill the captaincy next. And then we're going to spill the coach... And then we're going to spill some Gatorade. Because we have the power.
So I'm reading these out
Apparently.
verbatim. It really do be the older generation versus the older generation of Pie supporters. As a blanket observation.
Can you just help me out? I think those words just dislocated my ear. Can you check?
I really see a sense of entitlement in a lot of his criticisms. Like, you seriously believe people who followed the club for 40, 50 years, even more in some cases, I was there with the petition, I saw the supporters coming out. These people have seen 1,000 games. You really believe they've learned nothing. And if you look at this criticism, if you extrapolate from this criticism, it's like, well, we must be just spilling boards every couple of years, and we don't learn. We just spill a board out of sheer bored. We haven't adapted to the professional age.
Yep. Life experience has taught me that dog shit smells. I don't need to stick my nose in it to confirm that.
And to this one who really said about the older footy fans are quite unbearable.
Was it that Paul Robinson again?
No, he's a lot more intelligent. But it's like, what's the best way to put it? Are you seriously fucking that dumb? The people who run the club, the people you're backing are of that vintage. So if you're criticising everyone with a blanket generalisation like that, you're also criticising the people running the club you fuckwit. Jesus.
Whatever, boomer.
Oh, fuck it. I mean...
You can't bring logic to these discussions. Has life in the last 10 years taught you nothing?
No. So like I said, I was there for several hours, helping getting signatures. I really didn't know what to expect going up. I know a couple of other people who were there also just weren't sure what the reaction was going to be. 99% of it was agreement with what was going on, and a lot of fans were genuinely angry. They would voice their displeasure about where the club stood.
It's seriously hard to believe.
About the board situation, about the coaching situation, about the playing situation, about the way they treated... Yeah, and this is the thing, like, I keep having this fucking argument with... morons. I kept having this argument with morons about the trade debacle. Again, I don't give a fuck. Trade out anyone. Get something for them. Don't treat them like shit. That's the point I keep fucking making.
No. I think you've got it all wrong. See, we played in a grand final 3 years ago, and we played finals for 2 years. We've had one bad year. Why do you want to change things?
Because we've been spiralling down out of control for 9 to 10 years. The current brains mistrust have been in charge.
Whatever, boomer.
And in terms of the age profile of our supporters tended to be...
Do you think age and IQ's an associable thing?
Yeah, I think we should develop a bit of wisdom over age. But we did tend to have a sort of a skew toward like our vintage, which I think is also endemic.
Early 20s.
Yeah, is also endemic of where our club stands in terms of its relevance to supporters in general. I think a lack of success has...
Soured us?
No, I mean, look, what's the reality? You talked about your son wanting to support Hawthorn.
Yeah, isn't that sad?
And I know that's not the only time I've heard something like that. And the reality is kids are fickle and they will go where they're seeing success or whatever the case will be. So you're going to get a whole boom of Richmond supporters from Richmond's recent success. It's going to happen gradually that, it's going to take years, but people are going to jump onto other clubs. They're going to look at Collingwood as like, what are you but a spent force who talks a good game?
It's about wanting the club to be better. And I think no matter who you are, you want that. But there's also a legacy, not a legacy, I suppose. It could be a legacy, I don't know. It's also about protecting the future of the existence of the Collingwood Football Club. Because at this time, it's a hard sell to get your kids to follow them sometimes. And they want to go off and celebrate success with all their mates like we did growing up, except, we were stupid and loyal. But there is a divide between, I think there's a lot more aged Collingwood supporters that are out there than there are new, younger ones coming through. And the club has to be seriously concerned about this because if we go through another 10, 20 years of mediocrity, who's going to fucking support them?
Oh, well, it'll be a lot of us dropping off.
Oh, I mean, you're getting people dropping off and cancelling memberships now. Like, I mean, I after the crap that went on at the start of the year, I pulled after 22 years my social club membership for no other reason that I wanted to be a statement to the club.
And you're not the only one. That was common.
And I think, and some of the stuff that that David is doing is empowering people to have a voice to now express the dissatisfaction other than in dollar terms. I know the club's not going to miss my tipping of the social club hat their way.
They will if enough people do it.
The thing, I probably, I was a little bit disappointed, but there was no follow up to try and woo me back or anything like that.
Well, we'll talk about the previous one of the former antists on the website, Taz. He did pretty much what you did because he got disenfranchised, and this is before all of COVID and stuff. And he sent them a really lengthy, passionate letter. And when they responded a week later, he actually followed up. He goes, "Did you get it?" And like, if they go, "Sorry, we lost it." It's like, good work. And you know what?
Do you know how hard it is to lose an email?
And there's a lot of criticism of that membership department. I understand they're now understaffed because of COVID and all that.
Well,
but
I don't
there's
think
a lot of
our
criticism.
membership department is all that big. A lot of it's outsourced to ticket disaster.
Right,
sorry, did I say that out loud?
Yeah, you did. So go on with what you were saying.
I think I'm finished.
Okay, so the thing that really annoys me is this attitude that do not ever criticise the club. Don't ever.
Ever.
If you accept what is the status quo, then why will anything ever change? And again, I said this the other week. If that's the attitude you expect people to have, then these people who are fans of Eddie Maguire, he shouldn't have come on board 24 years ago because he should have just let the status quo run. So I just find it really absurd that you were never apparently meant to challenge your club, even when you're trying to be passionate, constructive, and eloquent about it.
And I think that's it. I think Collingwood's deluded itself into thinking that really rabid, passionful supporter base, that the ones that always turned up even when we were shit, was just going to carry them through all these tumultuous times or the downtimes and stuff. And I think actually people are now voting with their feet. They've literally had enough. There's always, with anything, there's always a tipping point where you go, I just don't have the energy to invest in this anymore. To go to games and stuff like that, you're a young family and whatever you can use as a valid excuse to try and talk yourself out of it. But the reality is, it just doesn't feel the same as it did 10, 15 years ago going to the football anymore. Maybe because we're all old and privileged or whatever it is.
That's not entirely Collingwood's fault. I mean, I think part of that's ground
rationalisation. Not in that instance. I'm not blaming the club either. It's but there's got to be a catchment that actually tries to say, I don't want you all to flow around the sides. Some of you have to be pulled back in. And we need to come up with new and inventive ways to re-engage with
Well, that goes back to what David was saying about engaging the supporters. Another tweet. I don't buy into the Buckley has lost the players. Yes, we aren't very good and make some questionable mistakes. But questionable mistakes? Because you can make good mistakes, right?
Can you?
Oh, that's it. But they give it the all pretty much every week. Love heart.
Well, that's all we ask for.
Go Pies.
Never leave. Always clap them off the ground. We're Collingwood. Blah, blah, blah. Yep.
All right, so, I mean, we really, I think the game plan really shuts down a true indication of where each club stands because we really just play to save the game. I'd be very worried with this regime going forward. I'm very worried about the scuttlebutt they're talking about giving Buckley another contract. Because now what people are finally starting to put together is you give him another year, it's not going to make a difference because you have such a young list profile. You'd have to actually give him 3 or 4 years.
And you couldn't do it.
Could you sell? You don't think you could sell that to the public? I mean, not going to be able to sell it to me?
No, I think to take that course now would be the straw that broke a lot of camels' backs. I just don't think people have got anything left to invest in where we are right now. And I don't want to make that about an individual, but I think it's about a number of individuals. Well, let's call them coaches. Let's call them admin. Let's call them board members. This drive for change just hasn't come out of nowhere. It's been building.
We've talked about it. It was there in 2017, and just 2018 was a band-aid on it, and now it's back. I have some pretty good mail, and like usually we don't go into rumours unless we have a relatively good source. What I was told is if Buckley is re-signed, there'll be a couple of players who will not be there when their contracts expire. They will go elsewhere, and they're not. They're not insubstantial names.
We're not going to lose Josh Thomas, are we?
I think he could be safe for about another 9 years. But and like again, it's a really good source. So I look at like that playing list and think, over the long term, there's been evidence of players Buckley hasn't gotten along with, and you go from Daisy to Heater to Didact. There's been a number of guys. My concern now is if they say let's give you another 3 years, Buckley will do what he did back then, and he'll just be like, anyone who doesn't get along with me, go out. Off you go, and then we're going to reinvest through the draft, and then we're going to go on this long, painful rebuild again. What happened the previous time is they drove those players out, like Daisy and Heater and Wellingham and Dawes and all those sort of guys, Beams and all that, and they went to the draft and they missed with guys like with Scharenberg and Freeman and Brumet and Kennedy and all that, and that's obviously just the luck of the draft to an extent. But like my worry is if they recommit to a substantial contract, you're going to get players who are going to leave or be driven out, and then Collingwood's going to be caught in this whirlpool of, I don't know, what do you call it?
Shit.
Yes.
At least they'll be playing to empty stadiums each week.
Well, Saturday, when did we play? Saturday was the
fourth lowest
since 1988, and was one of the lowest since
World War II.
Yeah.
I heard on the radio, Daddy-o.
And obviously some of that is because Port, in-state team. But still, you get...
I would have thought in a good week, we would have got 45 plus there.
Oh, you would that, yeah. So, you see fans dropping, and I actually really feel that the fans, a lot of them are developing that apathy they felt in 2017 because you're investing in a system and individuals who, what's the most diplomatic way to put this, can't get it fucking right and have a proven body of evidence that they can't get it fucking right. And the one time they got it right is now being largely attributed to outsiders who came into the club and have since gone. So I would be really, really concerned about Collingwood stands now. I know they're not going to make a snap decision or anything like that, but geez, if Mark Corder, and I've got to say this about Mark Corder, I have nothing against Mark Corder, I don't know him or anything like that. If Mark Corder had come out when he was named president, if he came out just really hard and just said, look, previous administration made mistakes, we're sorry, this is our vision for the future, this is what we want to do. And he sold a vision rather than just sort of quietly go, I'm going to apologise to everyone for the next 2 weeks. If he did that, I would have thought, okay, well, I'm going to give this guy a chance. They haven't done that. So the club now needs to get on top of where they want to be in the present and where they want to go in the future.
Do they know where they want to be?
Well, surely they don't want to be here. And it's this ridiculousness of...
Keep coming back to this place.
This ridiculousness of, a few weeks ago you were selling, we're only one game out of the finals. And then it was this, and I see this a lot, and it fucking shits me. It's like, well, if we didn't lose those 1 point games to Brisbane and to Port, would be one game out of the 8. Well, you fucking did lose them, so let's deal with some reality rather than, you know what, if we won every game last year, we would have had a flag.
No, we wouldn't have. Playing
the Cats next week. Thoughts?
Get me out of here. I think I mentioned last week that there's going to be an inevitable touch-up game.
I thought it was last week.
Where we get belted by 80 points. It could well be this week.
Well, I don't know who they're bringing in or out. I mean, apparently Adams wasn't meant to play last week, and he did play, so it's like, why are you rushing him back?
He was a leading possession getter with a broken kneecap, which probably means that he'll be out for 6 to 8 weeks.
I really hope someone didn't make a decision and just said, look, we can push him through it. It might cause a little bit more length on his recovery, but we need to get a win.
Just on the on the selections last week, because now that we're talking about the game again of Port,
it's good to bring Nathan Murphy back to put him as a medical sub.
I was just about to say, where does this make fucking sense? You're out with concussion for 2 weeks, and you name him as the medical sub, where he'd probably better than average chance he wasn't going to get a run on the ground. What's the sense of it all?
I don't know. I really don't.
Wouldn't he be better off having a run round in the VFL? Light at the end of the tunnel. with players like McCreary and Poltergeist, who look like they actually gave a fuck towards the end and were playing like they wanted to win this game. I mean, you can't undersell the pressure that would have been on Poulter for that kick.
How good did he take it? Calm.
And the thing is, when you look at the way he plays, he really looks just like it's early Pendle-ish, where he's just part of the flow and he has no sort of whims or concerns around it. He goes, I'm just out here to do this and I'm going to do it and give it my best. McCreary I love because he's just he's a bull. There was a passage, and I can't remember what it was because I love paying attention to footy this much these days.
Passage to India.
But his opponent in the goal square, he dumped him. And you saw as the camera was following the ball off to the right or left, I can't remember which way it went, McCreary's just grabbed him and threw him back into the dirt. And the ball's come to the boundary line and it's sort of snaked its way back in, and McCreary's gone, opportunity. And he's grabbed it and run it and kicked it through. And you think that's everything you want to see. It's that dare, it's that aggressiveness.
How long before that's coached out of him?
Next week.
No, because it is serious. I again have concerns about moving forward, about players having to fit in a mould, about players who don't connect, and we've seen that. There's enough evidence now to suggest that certain players don't fit the parameters expected to survive in that squad.
Robotic drones.
Yeah. So I said a lot on the message boards and that where people are concerned now about the youth and whether they could be damaged or driven out or whatever the case. And as I said earlier, I mean, I've heard there's a couple of players who won't be there. So it's really, I think there's a lot of crap going on where either they're going to commit long-term to Buckley or they're not. But moving forward, there's some excitement, and I just really wouldn't want to lose that.
If you were to put a new coach in there and a game plan with structure...
You mean a coach in there?
Coaches,
a coach,
rather.
Yeah.
That had some structure in it and encouraged that to exploit your best skills and your initiative, we could be good again, not as long as I would have thought it might have taken if we stuck with the incumbent.
I look at it in terms of, I think Pendlebury's really starting to show signs of...
Yeah, he was a shocker on the weekend. We had a shocker, rather.
To be fair, I think in a proper system, a few of these players are going to thrive. I think, his side bottom could find a new lease of life. But again, you still have that aging top end, so it could drop off very quickly. They really need to be getting these draft picks right. I had this conversation with someone else. I mean, the great thing about leading into the premiership is they nail all their picks. Pendles, Daisy, Reed, Brown, side bottom Beams, Dawes. They pretty much nailed all their picks over like 4 years, and they really need to nail more above average for these ones. Poulter and McCreary look like definites. The others who've come up haven't looked as good so far, but obviously it's still very early days and all that.
It's a hard ass for some of them to come into something that's dysfunctional and function.
Well, I think I think they give them every chance when, for example, if they play midfield in the reserves and they come up and then they play a deep half forward, I think it gives them every chance.
Similar position.
Yeah. Final thoughts. What's your tip?
Cats by 80 points.
Yeah, I'll say Cats by 79. Final thoughts.
A change hopefully is a coming.
Yep. That's it from us.
And it's good night from us.
So you heard David Petition is going to be before the Geelong game outside Gate 1 again.
Yep. Be there and sign up.
And obviously you can go online, www.magpievoice.com.
There'll be a link in that thing below us.
No, there won't. I was just
comments. What are the comments? Is it
scroll text across the screen?
That bit there. Yeah, you scroll across the screen.
Yeah,
that's innovative. What if you put a hyperlink there that people could click on?
Oh, that bright.
No, it's just a suggestion.
You did the editing then.
That's not editing. It's just YouTube.
Should be light at the end of the tunnel. Later.
See ya.
What do you think about this petition to challenge the board?
Look, I think it's long overdue.
You're
I
a
think
Collingwood member, you want ownership of our club, this is the place
the
to
club
go.
needs to be returned to its members. I'm all for this spill, this EGM, because I believe the club needs to be returned to its members. Let the members vote on exactly who they want to be representing our club.
I think it's long overdue, and I'm really pleased at the turn-up. It's going well.
And how do you feel about Collingwood at the moment?
Rubbish, absolute rubbish, but I think they're exactly where they have been because of the leadership they've had.
Look, my name's Vic Nicholas, member 13566. It's all about giving the club back to the members, to give the members a say of where the club goes and the direction the club goes. I have no problem with the current board per se. I just want honourable elections to be held to ratify every position.
Oh, look, it's just great to see that democracy's back at Collingwood. It was something I was concerned about a decade ago, and when I was a kid, I remember the days of the New Magpies boardroom stoush. I was 16 years old, and I look forward as a kid to getting involved in club politics because I was crap at footy, so that was all I was going to ever be able to be involved in. Look, this is just, it's long overdue, and democracy is important, and you should stand up for it. And look, it's imperfect, but it's the best system I reckon we've got.
The petition is the right vehicle for members to have a say. We're meant to be a members run club, or sort of membership having a say in the election, and that's all we want to do is actually have a free election for anyone who wants to run.
And why do you feel it's the right thing now?
It's the right thing now because it's been 23 years since we've had the last election, and given the changes that have happened in the club in the last 12 months, this is the perfect time to give the members the say, and whoever is elected is duly represented, and it would be legitimate. They'll have the demand from the members to stand.
Well, I feel it's needed. I'm a cheer squad. I don't normally get a vote unless I actually play for social club. But being the cheer squad, we have a code of conduct to follow. So we have to follow what the club wants. But at the end of the day, that lady was not voted in properly, and I think that Collingwood needs to stick to their own rules and keep to what members want. Because remember, at the end of the day, members are the soul of the club.
Well, I think it's a good idea because while I don't really know much about all this stuff, like I don't think I follow it enough, but it is true. We do need to get back to democratic ways of we need to include members in these decisions.
How do you feel about Collingwood at the moment?
Look, it's disappointing what's happening, but I believe black and white all my life. I am a die-hard supporter. I always will be.
Yes, with this Collingwood petition, this is definitely 23 years in the making. Well, Eddie Maguire had run his race a long time ago. We need a whole new boardroom, whole board overhaul, new ideas, fresh business people, and fresh foundations going forward into the future, because to be quite frankly, our fans are not getting any younger and our premiership glory days aren't getting any younger. The club we are should have much more on-field domination, considering how much resources this club has. They should have much more on-field success. We should be like the Hawthorns, winning them every decade, every 5 years of getting up and winning them. But I wish we could go back to Victoria Park, but that's a different story.
What happened to Eddie Maguire was an absolute disgrace. The way he was treated in the end was wrong. The way the board's working right now is just heartbreaking for all of us members, and the way we're getting treated at the moment is wrong. We need more info. We need to make sure that we're going to actually say in the club, and the club doesn't go to where they're trying to take it. Cheers.